I feel like it's almost too cliche at this point to say that Riot Games is getting greedy, no? I mean, how many videos have we seen over the last 3 to 4 years of people saying that they're quitting the game, they're bored with it, they hate Riot's practices, etc. And I'll be honest with you, for the longest time, I was of the opinion of like, I'm still having fun with the game. Like, they're still doing things that make it entertaining for me. The one real bad blip of that being last year or 2 years ago now, when they really messed up the cinematic. Yeah, that was a hard line that it was like, okay, Riot should hopefully learn from this, and starting from 2023 on, we never have this problem again, right? Oh, here we are. Somehow we're back. Almost all of my content is typically focused around esports, and this will have a relevance to esports by the end, but I have to talk about Hextech chests and skins at this point because it is just ridiculous from Riot's part. Look, I'm not one of those people that's inherently going to sit here and tell you that, yeah, like Riot has to give out Hextech chests and free things for folks. I don't really have an issue with that personally, but like if you're going to take it away, if you're going to take away this thing that has been a staple in the game, in the community, something people grind for an extended period of time when it comes to champion mastery as well, you have to replace it with something. Right? Like you can't just like give a kid a cookie for 14 straight years of his life every single day and then one day wake up and say, nah, fuck your cookie. We ain't doing that. The moment you do that, the outrage is going to be extreme. You have to wean people off of that type thing. And it's not like Riot's out here weaning anybody off of skins. In fact, they're actively pissing people off more and more each day with the gacha mechanics, with the $250 skins, with the $500 skins, of which the artist that they're saying, made these great skins then gets fired as well. Point is, the quality of the skins, the quality of the content that has been put out during this phase of which Riot has been saying, yeah, we need more people to buy skins and we're going for the whales. It's like you didn't up the quality alongside that. You just took pretty much what was already existing in the game, added a tiny bit of polish to it, and was like, bam, $250. The whales will pay for this. And they somewhat did, but clearly not enough. Because if you had to take away Hextech chest and take away the free part of this, it means that the whales weren't covering enough to keep that part of it in the game. So all that talk last year of how, you won't be affected, we're catering to the people who have been asking for premium goods for a long period of time. Turns out you didn't have enough of them in the tank. Did you, Riot? Or the stuff that you're putting out is just not good enough to actually feed the whales. So now you have to start taking stuff away from the low-level people that don't spend as much money on the game, because now you really need to nickel and dime everybody if you're going to hit those, I'm assuming, revenue growth targets and maybe gross margin targets that you're promising to either Tencent or that Tencent is forcing down onto you. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's going to work. This Hextech chest movement has been picking up steam on all platforms, and I'm really going to be curious in a year from now to see if Riot actually did have a player base hit alongside of all of this. Did the monetization practices that you enacted this year have the effect of, okay, we finally started gaining revenue from like the lower level people, but does that offset the amount of people that just left the system? Were you truly not making any money off of those people that left, that you can justify having a lower player base count that is more easily monetized? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But maybe Riot will prove me wrong as time goes on. But the thing is, that wasn't like the only bad thing that came with this developer update, which I'm going to call now is the worst dev update that we've received since Riot stopped giving dev updates. What I really wish Riot would do, and I know they don't have the guts to do this, but have a town hall. Like, one of the great things that I love about Fortune 500 companies and those that are like public companies in general is like you have to do earnings calls and answer to investors, and you have to give like some sort of return to like what the public is going to be asking of you, which then the general public can come out and say like, hey, we either buy it or we don't based on where your public stock price goes. For Riot, they get to hide behind this mask of being a private company and don't have to answer to anybody. So it's like when you put these changes through, it's like they don't have to back anything, and in a year from now, they can either give it back and herald themselves as kings, or you can go the other way and they just don't say a word. But the reason why this one was also bad was because now, like, the thing that you were championing as one of the cornerstones of this game, like the premium competitive product outside of playing at a professional level in Clash, is going out the freaking window as well. If you don't know, Riot has made the decision that we're going to have Clash every 2 months, because the team that was working on Clash is now being pulled in a different direction because they don't have enough people because they laid off at the beginning of last year and another round after that. So the layoffs are hitting it hard and they just don't have enough people to do it. Which one speaks to a problem with Clash. Clash has had so many issues since it started that quite frankly never got fixed. You get disqualified after one game. You have people that don't get the rewards right. That it honestly, like, I know this might be a controversial opinion, but I think just Clash at this point should be shelved rather than going to 2 months. And even then, it really does feel like you're only doing 2 months because you don't want to give out the skins regardless of whether you make the manpower argument or not. But the reason why I think it should be shelved is because it's like, dude, you're wasting people's time on weekends with these issues that you're not fixing. So start from scratch, as noted on Reddit, and give us Premier, the system that's in Valorant. That is just a weekly game that will keep people playing way more consistently than a Clash match every 2 months, which barely gets people on it. They're already tuned out. Whereas if you're in like this season-long thing that has a match every week that feeds into a playoff system that can eventually feed in to the actual competitive ladder itself, since ranked flex is ass and solo queue on itself is toxic for many people and not the best way to play the game. Why can't we have that? What is the problem here? What am I missing other than your code being so trash that you can't get it done? I don't understand. All of this, though, like, genuinely feels like it comes off the shoulders of the new CEO, who I'm not even remembering his name here. I'll put it up on screen next to me, but that shows how much I could give a shit about it right now. Before I get into this next part, one of the pieces of advice I remember Joe Marsh actually telling me was that you always want to be in the good graces of the developer of the game because they ultimately hold all the power. I agree, but there are certain things that you can't not say. You can't remain silent on, and that is just like the direction of Riot since this new CEO came in is god awful. It's gotten to the point where I, like apparently many people on Reddit, don't even have faith that this MMO, which granted, I've never played an MMO, and I've been waiting for Riot's MMO to come out, which has been teased for God knows how long now, for me to finally give something a try, because I'm not going to invest it into a game that's existed for such a long period of time, like World of Warcraft or RuneScape. No, not going to do it. But do I have faith in them to deliver a quality product at this point? It's like, I don't know. I really don't. Because Riot have had quite a few fails despite the success of Valorant, of League, and of TFT. And because all of this is happening under the directive of the CEO, who, if you didn't know, was like a finance guy before anything else. And dude, you're fucking up the reputation of those of us that work in finance and our aspirations to get involved with this scene, because now anybody that sees like a finance bro or somebody that's ever worked in corporate finance come to the helm of this esport or any esport or any game like this, people are immediately going to be aware of like, oh, they're just doing cost cutting measures, because all you clearly give a single shred of a shit about is the fucking money, which I get is the underlying point for everybody. But every company gives a crap about the money, but they are able to actually mask it behind like actual good products and good consumer practices, or at least good enough ones that it masks it to the point where it looks good. Somehow, some way, over the course of like the last 2 months, Riot has eroded every bit of goodwill that they've had with their player base. It felt like things were going right last year, like things were doing well on both like the esports front and the casual game space. But now 2024, it's like we have our issues like massively with the esports spaces. They consolidated everything into the 5 different regions, and people have problems with the formats and how quickly things are going in this first stand tournament, how it's set up. And on the general league front, it's like too many changes. You're taking away things from the consumers. It's like, why does it feel like we are nickel and diming League of Legends at this point? Because you have to maximize a margin? Really? That's what we keep coming back to here? At what point do you say enough is enough? And I get we're in capitalism, and that's just not possible, as people are going to continue to demand more money and continue to want more from you at all times. But dude, at some point you got to come out here and be like, we got to do what's best for the community, because it eventually will create a snowball that you just cannot stop, that you won't be able to stop the downfall of the game. And the MOBA genre in general is hanging on by a fucking thread here in North America. One of the other reasons I want to make this video is because I've been reading the headlines about Smite over the last few days, and Smite was the game that I got started on. I would not be playing PC games or talking about anything PC had it not been for Hi-Rez and Smite bringing that game to console. I played it in beta. I used to work at a golf course in New Jersey, and I would go down after we closed the pro shop and steal my boss's office chair to play in my like apartment that was like above the pro shop, like the room that they gave us, and play Smite and play like competitive tournaments on like MLG in his chair late into the night. Dude, I have so many good memories from Smite. It was such a fun game, but like you always knew that like League was the pinnacle, so I eventually swapped over and tried it. But to see like that company going down and just burning in flames, their esports scene is non-existent at this point. Dota, I mean, what else do you gotta say there? Like, look at the international prize pool. Look at the numbers there. Like, the NA scene's been dead for a while now there. It feels like League is honestly not far behind it, and it's just like I'm sitting here like, bro, I freaking love League. Like, there's so many people that love League, but you just sit here and worry, and you can't help but listen to the whispers I've been hearing for years now of like, hey, dude, like this scene's dead. Like, it's eventually gonna belly up, and you just sit here and it's like, I don't want them to be true. I keep trying to fight it. But I mean, when I look at the viewership of like the Pit and the Rendezvous and like some of the other series that I'm doing on like North American League right now, and it's just down. My numbers compared to last year, like, or compared to like where we were when I was talking about International League and like even like the later portions of Domestic League come summer last year, it's down. Interest is waning. I'm not going to give up till it's over. But shitty decisions like the Hextech chess stuff and Clash and everything that Riot's making right now are only going to make it worse. And eventually, it's going to be too late. I hope that day doesn't come. But Riot and the new CEO, you're scaring me that that day is going to be sooner than I think. So knock off the corporate greed. If you can find a way to actually make decisions that are good for your player base for once, just do it. Try it for 2 years, and if that fails, then come rub it in my face. Sure, but the greed at its current level cannot continue to persist.